Regan Slaymaker for Not Just Boxing, and I have the pleasure to be joined by Frank Smith. Frank, it's my first interview with you in Riyadh. I mean, this is absolutely mental, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, lovely fountains. Look at it.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
mad.
look at this setup. Don't really see anything quite like this. So, what a night! What a press conference. Just a couple of days away now.
Definitely as well. Obviously, I just want to touch on the main event. You were saying in other interviews, Dimitri Bivol looks absolutely laser focused in this main event.
Not as laser focused as Dev Sani was up on that stage up there.
Shout out Dev Sani every single time.
Everyone else got a clap apart from Dev Sani.
So. I know. Sometimes I go up there, I just clap myself, and it usually gets them going, but nothing tonight.
No. He deserved one.
He definitely does.
Thanks, Frank.
Every single
See you in a
time.
bit.
Every single time. But yeah.
Is that Dev Sani or Jamie Ward up there?
Shout out both Jamie and
Shout
Dev.
out them all. Yeah, what were we talking about? Sorry.
The main event, and Dimitri Bivol being absolutely laser focused on that top. It's the first time I've seen Dimitri not really receptive to some press conference questions as well.
Yeah, look, Dimitri Bivol knows what he needs to go and do. I believe he won the first time round. He didn't get the result. It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks apart from those three judges. You know, he knows he needs to go in there and deliver an even more convincing performance. And yet that is what you will see on Saturday night. He's laser focused, and it's been his dream to become undisputed champion. And he gets that opportunity just 4 months later. You know, we never thought that fight would come, let alone come twice in 4 months.
Definitely as well. And I do want to touch on the other world of boxing, matchroom boxing fight, Israel Madrimov, Virgil Ortiz. Every day this fight night gets closer, that fight becomes more and more exciting for me. What an opportunity this is for Israel Madrimov to reclaim being a world champion.
Yeah, look, for me, that is the fight of the undercard. You know, I think Israel Madrimov, I mean, to see what he's done in his career, you know, after winning the world title, jumping straight in there with Terence Crawford, you know, he didn't get the win that night. It was a close fight, and I think he took him to the wire in that fight there. But I think on Saturday night, you're going to see a performance from Israel Madrimov that sets him up for the biggest fights in the division. He's a special fighter. You know, he's had, 13 fights? Virgil Ortiz is a brilliant fighter, but trust me when I say this, Israel Madrimov becomes the WBC interim champion on Saturday night, sets up some huge nights for down the road.
And we look forward to seeing it as well. I do want to touch on Fight Week, Frank. It's never easy, is it, as for some of the team Matchroom, but Floyd Schofield pulls out, Josh Padley comes in. Talk to me, what is a process like that for someone who's involved in it? It must be stressful.
No, not really. Do you know what? If you get stressed in boxing, you're in the wrong business.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, you've seen how many things have happened. And that was one thing we dealt with. Imagine, you know, the guys today, the Queensbury team dealing with the replacement of Joseph Park. Like, so much going on. You know, like day after day, and you can't get stressed. You know, obviously a huge shout out His Excellency for keeping the fights on. You know, and giving the fighters the opportunity to keep fighting. You know, the key for us was always to make sure Shakur Stevenson boxed. You know, and we were straight on it. I was on the phone, shout out Tom Stalker. You know, it's funny, Tom Stalker we promoted many years ago, now manages Josh Padley. I was on the phone to him over an hour and a half, getting it all together, and we got it done. You know, we got it done. We got his medicals, we got his check weigh done, and then he flew out here. And credit to him, and it changes his life, and he deserves it. You know, when fighters are willing to take those chances, and it just shows as well. More fighters should stay ready for opportunities. I did say I'm going to start travelling around with a suitcase of fighters in each weight division on a show, so that we've got a spare.
I'd like to see that suitcase, Frank, as well. I mean, just on the Shakur Stevenson perspective, obviously he mentioned kind of it's like an amateur tournament now, kind of you don't really know who you're fighting next. How important is it, and I'm sure Shakur is, for him to be laser focused going into, even more than he already was against Josh Padley?
Yeah, look, you can never underestimate any opponent. Boxing, anything can change. How many times have we seen when people have underestimated opponents and what happens? Shakur Stevenson's a tremendous professional, you know, probably one of the best fighters in the world right now. So much more to give the sport. You know, if he makes a mistake now, it can affect him for a long, long time. You know, so he needs to be completely focused, and he will be. He's a true professional. He's been ready to go. He's been training hard. You know, he's had an unfortunate delay. Obviously, he was supposed to fight back in October against Cordina, got the injury there. So, you know, if this would have been out the way as well, it would have been a real problem. So, just glad he's fighting.
Definitely. Obviously, we don't really know what the situation is with Joseph Parker as well. Have Matchroom
I think they've just announced he's fighting Martin Bakole.
Oh,
as far as I've seen.
Oh, well, there we go. I mean, how do you see, as a neutral, Frank? How do you see that fight going?
Great fight. Look, a great fight. You know, fair play to Joseph Parker, because Bakole is no walkover. Yeah. Everyone's been saying Bakole is the most avoided man in heavyweight boxing. You know, look, he's a tough fighter. He had a great win against Jared Anderson, but Jared Anderson isn't Joseph Parker. You know, he's not the same level. But look, a great fight. Credit to everyone for making it happen. And I'm glad, like I say, that Joseph, he would have been training so hard for this moment. I'm glad he gets his opportunity. He's a good friend. Like, I've spent many years working with him, so I'm happy for him.
Definitely. And final one from me, Frank. I've seen you on some interviews when I'm doing my research and things like that. You always talk about the product being kind of most important thing to you, how everything looks and things like that. When you're involved as kind of one of the promoters for an event like this, does that give you some satisfaction? I mean, that like it's important to you, like that's the thing that you're succeeding in, that kind of product there.
Yeah, look, what Riyadh season and Seller and the GEA are doing, and His Excellency and all of his team are doing for the sport of boxing, he's elevating it to a whole nother level we've ever seen. You know, I mean, look at this. Look at the setup here for a fight week. You know, I think it gives us all something to work towards. And for me, as you say, like, I love putting on events. Events is what I do. You know, so we operated obviously the LA event for them back in August, where the M&M performed, like that whole thing. That for me is more like boxing's great, and if you make great fights, great. But the reality is, in sport, not every fight is going to be brilliant, right? That's just, you know, not every night is everyone going to turn up and have a great fight. But if you can create an event and go, that was an unbelievable event, like that isn't hit and miss. That's got to be, can you put on an event that people want to come to? Yes or no? And that's what I love doing. You know, I love putting on fights, obviously, but I love putting on shows, you know, because the show is a big part of it.
Definitely. And Frank, just a final one from the UK to Riyadh. This is my first time in Saudi, so it's a pleasure to interview you here. Thank you very much for all your time, mate. As always, mate.
Cheers, pal.
Cheers. Good to see you. Thanks, Frank.
No worries.